Hello you guys, this is Vertigo here. Hope you're all doing well. I know it's been a while since I've done one of these videos, so here's another. Yeah, it's been quite a while in fact, and I'm gonna quickly interrupt myself to say there's a plane departing here which is worth quickly looking at, off 25 right. Anyway, we're on the ground here at Phoenix, and yeah, as I was saying, I haven't done one of these, so now I am. I streamed the past few days as well. Um, for those of you who don't watch me on Twitch, I stream over at Twitch. I do flight simulation every now and again. Anyway, we're on the ground at Phoenix, as I just mentioned. We're flying to San Diego. I put up a little straw poll on my social media, Twitter and Facebook, and had you guys vote for what flight you wanted to see. You wanted to see Phoenix to San Diego. That got 6 votes, which was the most. Thanks, guys, for voting. Um, I'll try to do those in the future, so keep an eye out for those straw polls with regard to flights that you'd like to see. Anyway, we're in the A321 flying for American Airlines. The flight is American 639. We're here at gate Alpha, what is it, Alpha 11. And we're arriving at Terminal 2, gate 23 at San Diego. What more is there to say? If you have any questions about scenery and so forth, you're welcome to ask, although I have videos explaining it, so you should be able to find that on your own if you are so inclined. And as always, if I've missed something, if you have specific questions, you're welcome to ask in the comments. Try and keep it specific to the flight if you have questions about hardware, add-ons, things that aren't directly related to the flight, but rather indirectly related to flight sim in general. I'd just suggest that you keep those for other videos. Private message me on social media, and I'll try my best. Again, though, I'm kind of a flight simmer. I'm not really a tech. Well, that would kind of be a misnomer. Not so much tech guru, but more so. I'm not a hardware expert, nor am I a tweaker. I'm merely a flight simulator. I enjoy doing flight simulation. So when I can, I will help you out with just some basic information about my sim, visuals, hardware, and so forth. And I have no problem sharing that information, but I'm getting pestered, and half the comments on my videos are asking things like that. It's a little frustrating, I suppose. So, but I understand that you guys are curious, and I have no problem with that. That is fine. Um, so, yeah, just use your best discretion, and I will as well. Anyway, some other things to say. The plane has been boarded. Passengers are on board. Doors are closed. Jetway is pulled. We're connected to ground power. So we'll hop in there and not have too much work to do. We do have ATC. We're flying on VATSIM. The scenery here is by Flightbeam. The scenery at San Diego, I believe, is by LAD and VFR, I want to say. It could be taxi to gate. I'm not entirely sure, but it's San Diego scenery. It's kind of bad that I don't know. I'll try and look that up at cruise. Other than that, I don't think there's anything else pertinent to say. So we'll get into the flight deck here, and we'll get the show on the road. Alright guys, welcome into the flight deck. It's a standard Aerosoft Airbus looking flight deck. By the way, I should mention, I still have EasyDock. I haven't moved on to that new camera by, what, FX? I can't recall who specifically made it. Oh, a plane just spawned on me. Okay, well, hopefully he'll move. We'll just ignore him for now. At any rate, yeah, so I still have EasyDock. I don't have that new camera system. And yeah, this isn't the FS Labs. I'm still on P3D, or I am on P3D, not FSX, and the FS Labs is not available for P3D. So this is the Aerosoft. At any rate, we'll get the passenger signs on, and we'll come down here to the radio panel, and we will give a call to the tower, I believe. See what we got here. Yeah, 120.9. ATIS information is up. ATIS information is Oscar. Let's take down Oscar. So we'll call him with Oscar. There we go. Oscar on board. That guy just spawned elsewhere. Very cool. Thank you, man. 2994 on the altimeter. That's good to know. And we'll be off 25 right, I believe. Yep, departing 25 right. Cool. So we're calling 120.9. We'll listen for a squawk and our routing. Phoenix Tower, good evening. It's American 639 IFR to San Diego with information, Oscar.
American 639 Phoenix Tower. Phoenix ground is online at 132.55.
Okay, we'll call ground 132.55. Talk to you soon, American 639. Okay, so apparently ground is online 123 or 132.55. Phoenix ground, good evening. It is American 639 IFR to San Diego with information, Oscar.
American 639 Phoenix ground, good evening. You're cleared to San Diego Airport via the Judith 5 departure Mohawk transition, then as filed, climb via state, departure frequency 127.85, squawk 0741.
Okay, cleared to San Diego via the Judith 5 Mohawk transition, then as filed, climb via SID, departure 127.85, I believe, and squawk 4741, American 639.
American 639, the squawk code is 0741.
Okay, squawk 0741, American 639.
American 639, read back correct. Push and start at your discretion. Advisory taxi, you can set one way to fly right, the altimeter to 9906.
Okay, 2996, push and start our discretion, we'll call for taxi, expecting 25 right, American 639. Okay, so there's our clearance. Squawk 0741 is in there. Departure frequency, well, we'll leave 120.9 in here. That is for the tower. And yeah, that is what we need. So let's get down here into the MCDU. That nav data is correct. So we're going from Phoenix, it is, to San Diego, like so. The flight number is American 639. There it is. Line the IRS cost index, let's make it 35. Block fuel, our release fuel is 6.6. Actually, 6.7 rather. Okay, and our cruise level is 340. Cool. So, we'll put in the flight plan. The departure is off 25 right.
United 7000, taxi parking via Delta 6 Delta.
I'm going to untune from the tower so that I can, or sorry, from ground so I can talk to you guys. So, departure is the Judith 5 Mohawk transition. If it's included, there might not be a transition. Okay, there we go. Mohawk transition, yeah, that is correct. And then, from the Judith 5 to Mohawk, we join, if we can hop down here to Mohawk, we then join an airway, and that airway is via the J2. J2 to Hogs, Hotel Oscar, Golf Golf Zulu, to Hogs, and there we are. And then from Hogs, we join the arrival. It'll probably be the Loc 27 or the RNAV 27. We'll say Loc 27. It's via the Lucky 1 arrival. See if we can find Hogs transition. There we are, and we'll insert that now. If we cross-reference all these fixes with the chart that I have over here on my screen, unfortunately you guys can't see it, but I will make sure everything's good to go. So we should be left-hand turn to Dave's, to Vans at or above 8,000, or at or below 8,000 rather, clubs, to the Gila Bend VOR, to Judith, to Mohawk, Hogs, and then from Hogs we're to Manners. Yeah, various fixes. There's going to be a lot along here. We end up at Lucky to Lindy, and then we join the arrival there. We're missing a few fixes because what I should have done is arrival 027 via Lindy to make sure that that looks good to go now that we have the transition in there. Yeah, beautiful. Okay, there's a flight plan. That looks good to me. So we're going to be flaps 2 for departure. Our trim is down 0.2 units. So DN 0.2. Like so, everything auto-computes, transition altitude is correct, and there is our MCDU pre-flight completed. We will set the parking brake. We'll open our fuel pumps. We will fire up the APU. Get that APU bleed on at this point. We can set the MCP. Speed and heading managed. This is an RNAV departure. The SID top altitude on this guy is 8,000 feet. Constraints on the ND. Flight director's on. Our pressure here, the altimeter, I believe he said is 2966. Let me confirm that that's still current. It is 2966 on the primary and the standby altimeter. Beautiful, that works. So, with that done, we have speed, heading, and altitude. Flight director's on. We won't set the auto brake till after push and start. Pressure is set, so we're good to go. We'll wait for the APU to come up, which shouldn't take too long. And we can go ahead and actually start calling over the ground crew for push and start. Now, we're going to want our nose facing the left, tail to the right. We'll take American Airlines as our ground handler. Straight pushback, that works. We can go straight back. Alright, APU is available. We can disconnect ground power. Beacon light on. Ground services, external power gone. Chocks and cones gone. Doors are closed. Ground services are pulled. Beacon is on.
Flight deck, this is ground crew. Stand by for pushback.
Cool, cool. So, before start checklist, to the line, flight deck prep complete. ADIRS is nav, required fuel 6.7 on board, altimeters 2996 set. Departure review, we went over it. That's to the line. Below the line, beacon on, signs
Locking
on.
gear.
Windows and doors are closed and armed. Takeoff data set, thrust levers are idle. Transponder is auto, and the parking brake set. Before start checklist complete.
Ground crew departure check is complete. Nose gear steering disconnected for push. Release parking brakes.
Okay, brakes released.
Okay, here we go. All clear behind the aircraft. Safe to start engines at your discretion.
All engines clear. Start that wheel.
Now, I heard from an Airbus pilot who streams on Twitch that you start number 1 in the Airbus first, not number 2, as people commonly do in the Boeing, and that is just due to the way that the hydraulics are designed, apparently, that you have to start 1 first. So we'll start number 1 first, and engine number 1 will begin to come up. You can see N2 rising there. Once that gray goes out, we're considered to have a good start, and we'll start number 2. Oil temperature rising there. Oil pressure slowly coming up now. EGT rising. And 1 rising. And 2 still rising now through 44. And there we go. Good start on number 1. We'll start number 2. Okay, and number 2 is coming up. Everything's looking good there on number 2, and we got a good start on number 2. Ignition switch back to normal. We can get rid of the APU and the bleed. We're running on the engine gens now.
Set parking brakes, please.
We can set the parking brakes. We can set the auto brake to max. We can arm the spoilers, take flaps 2, and we can set our trim. Now our trim is down 0.2 units. So if we click on the flight controls here on the lower ECAM, looking for down 0.2, right about there. And it's at, yeah, our center of gravity is 31%, so it's just about 31%. Perfect. Trim is set. So we've transferred power, the APU and the bleed.
Pins removed, tow vehicle disconnected.
The APU and the bleed is gone. Our packs are managed. Hydraulics are managed. Generators are all managed. Probe heat's taken care of. Trim set. Flaps are set. Spoilers are armed. Auto brake is max. We can check the flight controls. So, Elevator full up, full down, and neutral, full left, full right, and neutral, and rudder
Clear
full
behind the
left,
aircraft, left and right.
full right, and neutral. Those cars just startled me. I nearly jumped out of my skin. Okay, flight controls are checked, and we are just about ready for taxi. Let us throw the taxi light on, and we'll call up ground here shortly. We should get a takeoff config confirmation here fairly soon on the upper ECAM that will just verify that we're fully ready to go. We'll stand by for that. Okay, there we go. Signs. They want our signs on? Is it referring to the no smoking sign? I suppose so. I've never seen that one before. I normally leave the no smoking light off because it's just not applicable. But okay, we'll turn it on. Takeoff config is normal. And we'll give ground a call at this point. An American 639 with Oscar is ready for taxi.
American 639, runway 25 right, taxi via Charlie Romeo.
25 right via Charlie Romeo, American 639. Okay, there we go. Brakes released, and we'll swing a right here to join Charlie. Well, let me see, actually. Yeah, we'll swing a right here to join Charlie, and then over to 25 right, so I will see you guys there.
November 1870, Papa Phoenix Bank.
Alright guys, welcome back. So we're coming up on the runway here. It's fairly close. I'm going to hop down here and get the weather radar on. Set our transponder to TARA, like so. And, yeah, 25 right is just up ahead. So the only thing left to do is get our lights and the clock at this point. Looks like these vehicles are going to cross, so we'll slow down so we don't run over them. Okay then, and continue on our way. And we should get transferred over to the tower here in just a moment. This is the hold short line for the ILS, I believe. For the runway is up here. Don't believe there's an aircraft on the ILS for 25 right, so we'll go ahead and proceed.
American 639, contact tower 120.9er. Have a good night, bye-bye.
Okay, tower 120.9er, so long, American 639. And we'll call tower. Tower, good evening again, it's American 639. We're short of 25 right, fully ready.
American 639, Phoenix Tower, wind 210 at 425 right, clear for takeoff.
25 right, cleared for takeoff, American 639. Okay, we're ready to go. So, lights on. Start the clock. And we'll keep it rolling. It's an interesting entry point. You don't have a lot of runways where it's kind of a merge almost. It's, even though it would seemingly be easier to taxi on the runway, it doesn't seem to be. It's kind of bizarre. Anyway, here we go. So that 50% on one. Engines are stable. Manflex SRS. Auto thrust is blue. There's 80 knots. V1 and rotate. Okay, we have positive climb and gear up. start our left-hand turn, and we'll be going over to center here shortly. We'll go ahead and throw the autopilot in here fairly early. Okay, we can disarm the spoilers. And there's climb thrust. Albuquerque is on 127.85. Sure, we'll get that handoff here shortly.
American 639, contact Albuquerque
Flight
7.85 view.
127.85 so long, American 639. And flaps up. Okay, again the aircraft cleaned up. Auto brakes off, gear is up, spoilers are disarmed, flaps are up, and we'll get the lights at 10K. Albuquerque, good evening, it's American 639, we're through 4,000 for 8,000.
American 639, Albuquerque Center, hello. Rear contact, Honda maintains level 340.
340, American 639. Okay, there we go, up to 340. Cool, and we are off. Again, I will get the lights at 10,000. The altimeter at
American 639, clear direct hogs.
direct hogs, American 639. Alright, direct to hogs we go. Cool. Right, so as I was saying, lights at 10,000, altimeter at 180, and passenger signs off somewhere around around our cruise. So we're off to San Diego from Phoenix. I hope you guys enjoy some of the views, and I will check in before we descend. So enjoy the ride. Hello you guys, welcome back into the flight deck. So while we were up here, we left Albuquerque's airspace and he handed us off to nobody. We're just monitoring advisories. You can see it's actually quite bumpy up here at 340, so I still have the passenger signs on, but otherwise we're all cleaned up. Constraints are off the ND while we're at cruise. And I'm just going to quickly walk you guys through the descent. So, on the arrival, we go down to at or above 5,000 at Lindy, so we'll set 5,000 here on the MCP for the time being. The ILS frequency, now there is not an ILS, we're going to be shooting the localizer 27. There is no ILS frequency. We do, however, have the localizer, which is 110.9. So we will insert 110.9 into the navigation radio here. So, excuse me. I don't think we want to put it in ILS. Maybe we do. I think we might actually want to. Yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to throw in 110.9. Whoops. 110.9. Like so, and we're going to put that in here. And the course off that is going to be 275. Okay, perfect. That will work. As far as the auto brake goes, we're going to need an auto brake of medium, that is for sure. We don't have a ton of runway to play with. Our minimums, we can put in some pertinent information down here in the performance page. Go to the approach information, and we'll put in the Q and, sorry, not Q and H, the altimeter. Put in the altimeter 3007 at San Diego. Man, I'm all over the place. Let's try that again. There we are. Temperature there is 17 Celsius. Wind is 230 at 5. That's a good wind. That's favorable for the approach onto 27. Transition altitude, of course, is 18,000 feet. And man, is it bumpy. Gee whiz. Excuse me for the cough, guys. My throat is quite dry. I'm sorry. And our barometric minimums on the approach are 680. 680 are our minimums. We'll obviously be landing flaps full. And that is that. So, looks like we'll be landing at what, about 134 knots? Okay. Cool. So that should all work well. And we're ready to go. We're pretty briefed on the approach and the descent. So we got about 60 miles till top of descent. We'll hang out up here at 340 until then. There's not a lot more to do at this point. I'll put the tray tables away, get constraints on the ND. Passenger signs are already on, and that's what we'll do before we start down. I don't believe there's much else for me to say. Obviously, I will give you guys some views of the descent and then bring you back as we're getting ready to shoot the approach. What we're going to do is intercept the localizer and then do they call it drive and dive method. I learned this from a pilot I met on Twitch, where they essentially descended 1,500 feet per minute to meet the altitude restrictions on the localizer, and then 1,000 feet per minute after the final restriction down to their minimums until they are visual. And that's exactly what we're going to do ourselves. So, I'm just I'm wasting time at this point. So I'll see you guys as we're getting ready getting ready to land. Enjoy the flight. Alright guys, welcome back into the flight deck. So you can see we're at about 7,600 feet. We're down under 10,000. The lights are on. The landing system is on. Altimeter set 3008 for the local setting. That catches you all up. Everything at San Diego has largely remained the same. Altimeter 3008. Wind is now 210 at 4. Good visibility. Some broken clouds at 3,600 and 4,800. So it might be a little interesting with the visibility for a bit, but we should break through any kind of cloud layer before we hit minimums. At any rate, we're just monitoring speed and altitude. We're in a pretty good place. I checked and there doesn't appear to be any other traffic on VATSIM on the network. So what we're going to do is we're going to fly. We're currently inbound to Lucky, where we'll cross at 6,000. At around Vido, we're going to hit Loc here, so we intercept the localizer and then drive ourselves down to the respective altitudes, 3,600, 2,700, 2,000, and get the plane configured along the way. In terms of speed restrictions, it's going to be 210 at Lindy. And then around Vido will look to be, 210. Well, we'll aim to be about 180 by Vida, and then down to our final approach speed by around Sichi or Rebo. So we're going to be doing a lot at once. Okay, so here comes the descent down to 5,000 or above. We should have a speed reduction here fairly soon. We may need some spoiler to stay on top of that speed. As you can see, we're coming over these hills here in Southern California. Yep, thrust idle, that's just to maintain our current speed. Let me bring out just a little bit of spoiler. It might yell at us, but that's okay. We just want to keep the speed in check. Okay, and we will stow the spoiler. Looks like it's not going to reduce down to 210 here, so we're going to activate the approach phase. We're going to pull speed. We're going to go down to 210 ourselves manually. That should have been in the programmed in on the RNAV, but apparently not. So we're going to be a bit fast here, but we're 15 miles out. Speed should come down nicely. I will pull out a little bit of spoiler. You can see the localizer is alive. We'll take flaps 1, stow the spoiler, and we'll drop it down to 180. Take flaps 2. We'll grab the loc. Take vertical speed. We'll drop down to 1,500 feet per minute. Get a nice descent going. A little bit high currently, so we're going to stay on top of that 1,500 foot per minute descent, down now to 2,700 feet. Can't totally see the field yet. Let's see, it should be just at about our 12 o'clock. It should be over those hills, so we're not quite visual yet. We'll take flaps 3 for a bit more drag. See if we can't get that descent down to 2,000 feet per minute. Really push the plane a little bit. Get back on altitude here. We're looking for 2,700 feet here. You can go ahead and drop the gear at this point for a bit of extra drag. Alright, and then down to 2,000 feet, continuing at 1,500 feet per minute. Let's keep it at 2,700. We're not quite there yet. There comes the gear. There's the radio altimeter. Flaps 3. Push down to final approach speed. Radio altimeter is alive. Lights on. Down to 2,000 feet we go. Flaps full are out. So we have landing flaps full. Indeed, VRES speed is pushed. Lights are all on, gear is down. We will put the spoiler away at this point, which it already is, and we will arm it. Spoilers are now armed. Lights we already got and pressure set. We're ready to go. We'll level off there at 2,000 feet. And can just see the runway in sight out there. Once we break through this cloud, I will then take it down for us. So let's actually start a little bit of ascent here down to minimums at 1,000 feet per minute while we work through this cloud. Okay, there we go, and at this point we're totally visual and we'll fly it as such from here on out. So constraints off the ND, we can get rid of the flight director and the landing system as well. We're fully visual. Missed approach altitude is 2,500 feet is missed. Alright, my aircraft. Shallow out that rate of descent just a bit. Actually, I will leave that landing system in to help track the localizer. I didn't think about that. Alright, we're looking decent.
1,000.
That's checked, we're stable and continuing. A little bit of a balloon there. Slightly right of the center line, just correcting. Plane's flying pretty nicely.
100 above.
Sometimes this Aerosoft can be a little tricky to hand fly, but it seems to be behaving today. There's 500 feet, we're stable and continuing.
Minimum. 400. 300. 200, 300, 200. 100.
Bring it in kind of low here, we do have a fairly short runway.
50, 40, 30, 20, retard. 5.
Alright, we're down, we'll hold the nose up. Ease the nose down. Keep the reversers in there until 80. Let the reversers out, and we're manually braking now at 60 knots. We'll get off to the left here at, let's have a look. This appears to be Bravo something. Bravo 6. Okay, Bravo 6 it is, off to the left, and we're going to Terminal 2, Gate 23. Right now we can get rid of the landing system. And the lights, in fact. Fire up the APU. Clock can go, that was a 50-minute flight. We got the weather radar. Let's vacate the runway, so if anybody's behind us, we don't hold them up. Get rid of the localizer. Flaps and the spoilers are in. And we're pretty well cleaned up at this point. So, gate 23 is... Let's have a look. I don't see a gate 23, but I know one must exist. There's a gate 23, so we're going to make a right here. Still on the runway, still being a pest. So we'll swing a right here, and we'll take it down to gate 23, which is Bravo 7 in the terminal. So I will see you guys there. Alright guys, welcome back. So we're just about to get parked up here. Gate 23 is off to the left over there. So we can get rid of the taxi light. We can throw the APU bleed on. The transponder is already on standby. They didn't have American Airlines as a handler, so we're using ExpressJet. And swing this left around here into gate 23. Cool. So we'll park up, get it shut down. A little squirrely on the brakes. And there we are. Throttle idle, we'll set the brakes, we'll kill the engines. We'll get rid of the beacon. Whoops. There we are. Passenger signs can go. With that done, let's go ahead and get some ground connections going here. So ground services, cones, chocks, external power. Pull over the jetway, open up some doors. Can hear the hydraulics depressurizing there. Alright, well, connect external power, APU and the bleed gone. Pumps can go. And I think we're just about done then. We can get rid of the radio panel if you want. Lots of little things you can do like this. But yeah, the aircraft's pretty well cleaned up. We can call it over GSX to do their thing. There is no moving jetway. Oh well. Okay, so we'll call over GSX and we'll wrap up the flight, guys. Alright, you all, I hope you all enjoyed the flight. Not a lot to say here, just wrapping it up again. Questions, comments are always welcome, as are constructive critiques. I'm all ears. Shameless plug, check out the description for social media links and Twitch if you like this in the form of live streams. It's nice to be doing these again. I'll try and make them a bit more regular. And as always, thanks for watching, guys. It's fun. Flight requests are welcome. And yeah, I will see you all next time. Take care.